Start off every way. Oh my god! What? Dude, no way, bro. Holy, we are now spoon. I think this is probably spoon territory, dude. Bank all, make sure. Okay, we got the clog. Yo, boys and girls, Ricecup here once again with another epic showcase on Mr. Armbar. As you just saw, I got my hands on the Eye of Ayak, another really interesting new piece of gear from the Delve boss, and arguably a best in slot item. This magic weapon is the fastest magic weapon of all time, being 3 takes, basically magic shortbow speed. Its rapid speed makes it incredibly powerful even over the shadow in some unique situations. Anyways, I will test this staff at various places and also will give you a basic rundown on how it works generally and how to maximize this weapon. Here's the basic rundown of the Eye of Ayak. The Ayak is generally right behind the shadow in terms of power in most magic situations. It is typically considered second best for magic damage. Specifically, the tankier the enemy, the stronger the shadow will be over the Ayak, even with the Confliction Gauntlets. Situations where you do not miss or the enemy is very weak to magic, the Ayak is only a little bit worse than the shadow. But you just said that Ayak can still beat the shadow, right? Yes, it can in some really unique situations. The Ayak will beat the shadow when you're dealing with low hit point enemies and also rapid transitions between phases of a boss fight like Zulrah. It is better on low HP enemies like Nilos and melee baboons in TOA because you can quickly switch to the next opponent and not overhit like a shadow. What does that mean? For example, if the Nilo is 11 HP and the shadow hits a 50, you will overhit and now you're 3-second cooldown before you can attack the next Nilo, where you can easily hit a 11 with the Eye of Ayak and you only have a 1.8-second cooldown. Therefore, the Ayak will overall be better because you're just switching between enemies a lot faster and still killing them just as fast. Besides the Nilo room, there's definitely other areas like Monkey Room at TOA for the melee monkeys, the red and green phase of Zulrah, and Nightmare Pillars. There might be some other places and maybe more places in the future, but those are the main ones that I'm going to be testing in this video. We will go over a bit more detail, of course, during the actual respective tests. So the Ayak also has a special attack that lowers magic defense of the enemy by what it hits, costing 50%. You might be asking, is this special better than the Accursed Scepter special for reduction of stats? I would say the Accursed Scepter is still a bit better overall because it lowers the enemy's magic level and physical defense by 15%. So the Accursed Scepter provides more benefits in multi-style scenarios. Let's say you're doing Team Yama and someone's maging or someone's meleeing, or like raids where people will use multiple different styles for the same boss. The Ayak special though does help the weapon itself out, so if you are main handing the Ayak and you don't want to bring an extra item, then just use that special. So guys, I am back at the area where you fight the boss just right before it, and there's these infected roots here that has all these like orange looking things. So these are the demon tears, the same ones that you can get from the boss. And the cool thing about the demon tears is that I can use it to charge the new staff that I got. So you can use regular runes, I believe it's chaos runes and death runes or something like that. Or you can just cast using the demon tears. I think it's 1 tier per hit. So yeah, boom. Now it has more charges. Anyways, I'm going to be AFKing here for a while and I'll give you guys my personal rates on the demon tier starting now. Alright boys, it's about an hour and I managed to get almost 700 demon tiers, so let's just say around 700-ish at 99 woodcutting Dragon Axe. For sure, I'm guessing it's like 800 or something with crystal, but that's pretty nice, man. I get like 700 charges an hour, and it's super freaking AFK, man. I gotta say, it's probably at least 10+ minute AFK sessions before you have to drop anything. You don't get too much woodcutting XP from here, but I want to say it's somewhere between 5 to 10k an hour, which will definitely add up if you are going to spam this staff a lot. Brought my Inferno Axe. I'm just going to assume that, oh, it works. See, I just got fire making XP. So yeah, I'm going to get even more AFK since it's going to burn a bunch of my logs. So if you have the Inferno Axe, definitely use it here. You're dead. Nice. That was a big hit. Big hit. What? No way. And a PB. What? How? I just got one like yesterday. Oh my god. This is a claim 100%. I mean, I'm down for I'm down for a double, bro. What the hell? Holy shit. All right, well, I'll take the dude, man. They don't really stack, but still cool. Anyways, let's begin the testing. We will start off with good old Zulrah. So what makes the staff of Ayak so amazing at Zulrah is two things. The first one, I've already explained the basics, is that Zulrah constantly transitions between phases. It'll go down and then it'll go up again into different forms. And so one of the problems with a shadow is that because it's a slow weapon, a lot of times you'll just miss hitting it before it dies by like literally 0.6 seconds. Whereas the Ayak will have no problem squeezing in as many hits as possible before it goes down, right to the last second. And the other thing is that Zulrah's damage is capped to 50 damage. Normally the shadow can easily hit 60 plus, but the thing is you are capped at 50 damage, so the shadow loses a ton of DPS. So the Ayak does not get penalized whatsoever by the damage cap because the max hit is around like a 40, so you're chilling. I will say though, you still want to bring a shadow if you're doing a mage only method as Zulrah, because I was using the Ayak on the mage phase, and even with the confliction gauntlets, oh my god, I basically could never hit. I think I was hitting maybe like 10 to 20% of the time, which is really bad. So the shadow is still, I would say, better on the blue phase, just because I can at least hit like maybe a third of the time on Zulrah mage phase. So ideally, if you're gonna do mage only Zulrah, definitely bring both if you can afford it. But it's okay, I still was doing decent kills times with just the Ayak. But yeah, the Ayak is definitely a must bring if you are going to be maging Zulrah whatsoever. But I would say the melee Halley method though nowadays is probably overall still better. Now we're gonna use the shadow on the blue phase, and as you can see, I can at least do some damage. Dang, that's crazy. Look at that. I managed to fit a hit in there before the dive. Like, never would I normally be able to do that with pretty much any weapon. But yeah, with the Ayak being this fast, you can really squeeze in like every ounce of available damage possible before the dive. So yeah, it's really insane. Look at that. You're just look, I'm gonna squeeze in another hit. Oh my god, look at that. So easy to squeeze in that hit. Watch, I can do the last hit with the shadow. So if you're really sweaty, you can do the last hit with the shadow like that with the Ayak combo. They work super well together. Some might think, oh well, if I have the Ayak, I might not need a shadow, or vice versa. If I have a shadow, I don't need an Ayak. Honestly, they go together really well. Damn, that was fast. Hell yeah, 54-second kill, guys. And the next boss that I went to is Phosani Nightmare, and honestly, I would just say regular Nightmare as well. Oh my goodness, the Eye of Ayak is absolutely amazing at Phosani Nightmare. Easily best in slot because the pillars don't have that much HP, and one of the annoying things about using the shadow on the pillars is that you often overhit. Like, the pillars often are only like a little bit HP before being fully charged, but then I hit like a 60 and then I have to wait 3 seconds before I hit the next pillar. Whereas the Ayak is so nice, you know, even if it's a low HP, it's fine because like I'll hit it and then my cooldown is only 1.8 seconds, so I can go right to the next pillar, no problem. The shadow and the Ayak DPS wise is super close to each other when you're fighting things where defense is not an issue. So in the case of the Nightmare pillars, defense is not an issue. So the Ayak is 100% the best weapon to use against the pillars for sure. I definitely noticed the difference immediately over the shadow. And another awesome thing with the Eye of Ayak is that because it's a 3-tick weapon, you can actually use it to tag the sleepwalkers too. Except the last one, you know, the last one I definitely recommend still meleeing it. But yeah, it works really well. I used to bring a crossbow for the sleepwalkers, but I don't even need to bring that anymore, so I save another inventory space. Yeah, so I can attack in between the quadrants still. There you go. Okay, nice. First kill back. I haven't done this in forever, but what? Oh my god, I forgot. Okay, this PB is bullshit because they literally removed an entire phase from this boss. So I don't really know how much faster it would be or whatever, but it's still a really good time though, I think. But yeah, it felt really smooth. I was definitely destroying the pillars faster than if I was using the shadow with the Staff of Ayak. So doing Nightmare, I wouldn't really bring a full-on mage switch, right? Like boots and the ring. And I'm just seeing if I even need this cape, for example, to even hit my max. So right now with Augury, I hit a 40. And even if I put on this cape, right? I think it's still a 40. Yeah, oh, that's sick. I don't even have to bring the cape anymore then. That's awesome. Because like I have to bring a shield, basically, since this is a one-handed weapon. I keep forgetting I don't have the treads, so a little disclaimer, if you do have the treads, you can actually bring the cape and you'll bring your max hit up to 41. Oh, okay, it does work. I just have to make sure I pre-path a little bit. So I don't have to bring my web weaver. That's sick. I can save another inventory space. Let's go. Alright, so I think you will get dragged like this. Oh, you don't. Actually, you can go all the way down too. So yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. You will never get dragged during flowers then. Just because the attack distance is long enough. It's a little shorter than like a trident or whatever, but it's just not enough to really worry about. So that's really nice. This is probably the best way to do this right now. Because that way I don't have to really worry about pre-positioning or whatever, so... Oh yeah, why didn't I even bother doing this? This is definitely what you should be doing, guys. Unless... Oh, mushrooms, dang it. Okay, well, until that shows up. But if there's nothing in the way, yeah, definitely just stay in the middle. It's just so nice. You don't have to worry about moving too much. There we go. So that's how you do the four-way. Basically, just commit to one distance early. And then that way you have 0 delay. And then you can slowly path your way to the other sleepwalkers and you'll be fine. So I went and tested the Ayak on every single raid that we have. Chambers, Toa, and TOB. Amazingly, at 2 of them, it has best in slot uses. And one of them at least second best in slot. So still pretty good. But we're going to start with good old TOA raids 3 to start off. So the Ayak is going to be the king at the monkey puzzle room due to that attack speed. But it doesn't beat the shadow or the T-bow in the other rooms though. But it is worth comparing this to a Bofa though, because that is going to be its main competitor. And many players do not have a twisted bow or shadow for when they're doing stuff like TOA. Specifically, when it comes to the Warden boss fight, the Eye of Ayak is very similar to the Bofa. The Eye of Ayak, depending on the gear, can definitely beat the Bofa by quite a bit. For example, with Confliction Gauntlets, the Ayak will be considerably better at Wardens just because it will proc the double chance to hit pretty often due to that attack speed. Ayak also has its own built-in defense reduction for magic spec to lower the obelisk and the Warden's defense to give it an extra edge, whereas if you want the Bofa to gain that same kind of edge, you do need an extra special attack weapon like a BGS, Bone Dagger, to lower that physical defense for the Bofa. The main takeaway from this though is even if you don't have a shadow, you can still prioritize a magic setup hard instead of a range setup for Bofa, for example. Melee is always going to be a core part of the TOA setup. So for Akka, normally if you don't use a shadow, magic is like your worst option for DPS. However, with the Confliction Gauntlets, the Eye of Akka is super strong, even better than the Bofa. So the second best in slot setups for TOA is going to change quite a lot because the Eye of Akka is so good. But if you're just sitting still like this though, look at that, man. We're just absolutely destroying it. Doesn't matter, I guess. Luckily, Akka has changed so that it only prays one thing now. Alright, so this is how this weapon works on the melee guy. I'm like smacking it. I am not mage potted at all. No salt, but yeah, we're still absolutely shitting on it. Oh yeah, I'm missing 4 or 5 times in a row. Yeah, I would say the Bofa is definitely better. Oh, nice. Ayak synchronizes really well. because the boss attacks every 3 ticks and I attack every 3 ticks. So I'm literally just dodging every single time I attack, and it just synchronized perfectly. The highest hit we've seen so far is 46, so I think the max is probably a little higher since you technically could bring boots and ring. All right, let's send the spec. Come on! Dang, I missed, but I got another one. Come on. Nice, I landed. Okay, it was a 36. That's pretty big. Oh god. No. Alright, I'm just gonna use the ambrosia. Dude, okay, dodging is kind of tough. I don't really know how to dodge while doing this. So yeah, you have been warned. You have been warned, guys, because yeah, I can't really find like a really good rhythm for this, unfortunately. Oh shit, my friend died. Okay. Ah, dang it, man. Alright, I'm gonna try to lock in then. Okay, I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting the feel for this. Ah, dang it. I couldn't do anything about that. Oh, nice. Okay. A few things that's a little bit tricky, and it's definitely the enraged part with the Eye of Ayak. Now let's talk about Chambers of Xerix. So for Chambers of Xerix, there's nothing too unique about the Eye of Ayak other than that it's just straight up your second best in slot magic weapon, right behind, of course, the Shadow. Ayak is second best in slot specifically for melee vanguards and the Olm Mage Hand. There is also a new magic hand running variations for the Ayak at Olm, just like basically running with a trident or sang that stops the boss from attacking you without missing any ticks. Yeah, forgot. Oops. Not gonna lie, I keep forgetting to use the Mage Hand spec in a group, because normally you would save your specs right for the melee hand, but if you're in a group, there's plenty of people that are going to be specking the melee hand. So if you have the Ayak staff, you can just lower the mage defense of the Olm Mage Hand. So I'll be doing that pretty much at least once per hand. I did learn one of the variations for mage running with the Ayak, and I gotta say it's definitely challenging, especially with all the WoW refugees and other players checking out this game. It is definitely quite ping sensitive. So yeah, it's a little bit clicky, but as you can see, once you get going, holy shit, the Ayak just fuck shit up, you know? Oh, I messed up there. Oh, flame face. But it's okay. You can fix it pretty fast, though. It's pretty easy to fix once you kind of know what you're doing, of course. But yeah, make sure you get that long range in, because that part's pretty important. Oh, this server's laggy. I just missed the tick because of the lag, but all good. That's pretty much an example of how you would do it. Now, for Fistula, though, normally you can use like a trident or something on Fistula, doing the redemption method or the Bofa if you're ranging. However, the Ayak being such a fast weapon is not as effective at Fistula, since you can't utilize that 3-tick speed when you're doing the prayer redemption method. Oh, the attack range of the Ayak kind of blows though for vanguards. But as you can see, it's pretty good. The Eye of Ayak's pretty good on the rangers. I guess it's second BAS on rangers if you're maging, because normally you could use a shadow or something, right? In regular Cox, the T-bill doesn't really hit that hard on the ranger, so you can actually use it on the rangers as well. This is gonna be really sick because I'm overloaded for this Mother Dial, so we should be absolutely slapping this guy. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh yeah, we're working him. We're working him right now. Now we move on to TOB. Just like at TOA, the Eye of Ayak does have a best in slot use even over the Shadow, particularly at the Nilo room. The Ayak is definitely a machine when it comes to clearing the blue Nilos because of that fast attack speed and that low HP that Nilos have. compared to Sang, which was basically your best in slot at the time for Nilos. I definitely noticed that I can clean up the blue Nilos significantly faster than with the Sang. For some of the sweatiest players ever doing mage role, you can definitely still bring a shadow with the Eye of Ayak for some advanced DPS strategies, but of course they already know that, so not much for me to say. TOB is mostly a melee focused raid, so there's not much else to mention though with the Ayak. So the next boss that I tried out the Ayak at is the Muspah boss. So there is the melee phase where normally you want to mage it, and with Ayak and Confliction Gauntlets especially, I was absolutely destroying the melee phases. Definitely worth bringing a mage setup if you have at least the Ayak. Is it about the same as the Shadow at Muspah? I would say so, just because you are transitioning phases, so you could switch into your range gear and hit the next phase a bit faster when it goes to the range phase. So yeah, it's about the same, so quite nice. Even if you don't have the Shadow, still rocks with the Ayak. But yeah, like, it's super good on the melee phase. As you can see, we're just absolutely pushing it. It's just like the fast speed is just really nice because it doesn't like overhit. I guess it doesn't matter for this boss. But yeah, I probably would say Shadow is probably a little bit better if you're gonna mage, but this is definitely not that much far behind because I definitely feel the kill speeds are very similar to using a Shadow for sure. The next boss I checked out is Whisper. So this boss is pretty much all mage, so the Eye of Ayak is going to be one of the best weapons to use here, basically the second best. And I gotta say, the Eye of Ayak works really good there. It almost feels like I was using a Shadow. I will say though, the Shadow is still definitely faster by, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or something, or maybe a little more. I think my kill times was anywhere from 240 to low 3 minutes with the Ayak. So the Ayak is a little bit annoying when it comes to some of the puzzle parts of Muspah, just because 2 out of 3 of them, right, involves you moving a lot. So I have to like move extra and click extra to attack the boss while I'm doing the puzzle, like the pillars, for example. I do enjoy the enrage phase with the Eye of Ayak though, because the attack speed matches really well with the enrage phase's attack speed and the tentacle dodging. So I was able to click to dodge and then click to hit boss in like a really rhythmic cycle. It felt a little bit smoother than like using a trident or like a Shadow. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. You just have to basically click the boss move, click the boss move every time. So yeah, I actually kind of destroyed the enrage phase there. That was really fast. But holy shit, this thing is really good on the enrage phase though. The attack speed syncs up really well with this boss's attack speed. It feels very smooth on the enrage phase. So, because like the 3 ticks kind of sucks for the puzzles, but it's really nice for the enrage phase though. Oh my god, you see, like, it's so tricky to min-max the hits. Not gonna lie, it is very tricky to min-max the hits like that on the pillar phase. Alright, so we'll start off with the double spec just for a maximum chance of defense reduction, just to lower as much as possible. As for kill times, definitely not faster than Shadow, but we are getting consistent low 3-minute kills, or just under 3-minute kills. And the next boss that I went to is Bandos General Garagedoor. So I've already shown that even with Confliction Gauntlets and undergeared with like a trident, I was able to do a freeze method and just DPSing the boss down pretty comfortably. But now it's Ayak and the Confliction Gauntlets, and oh my god, it is so much better for sure. I would say 75% of my kills, I was able to kill the boss within 2 freezes, so that's super comfy. I would say 25% of the time though, it did take like 3 freezes, and you definitely want to make sure you have some food on hand when shit hits the fan. It's definitely not as good as using the Shadow at Bandos, but it definitely is still quite comfortable and quite an easy method, I would say, for a lot of semi-experienced PvMers. Okay, so we are missing quite a bit, but that's kind of normal, you know. This boss is not known for being super weak to magic. But yeah, we basically obliterated though. So we're gonna miss a lot, but thankfully this attack is so fast that we're gonna proc the Confliction Gauntlets a bunch. So that's the synergy with the Ayak staff and the Confliction Gauntlets. You get to proc this Confliction Gauntlet so much more. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna land the freeze first, then use the staff spec. We should have at least one spec per rotation, so... And then yeah, we just use the same format that I showed you with the trident in the previous videos. I just freeze it, and then I trail it by the door like this, and then I should have like 2 freezes here. There we go, as you can see. And then we just chill in this other corner. Okay, this one might take 3 freezes to kill, I'm not gonna lie. So I guess if you're having a bad kill, this is what you can do. You can just do this. Because I'm too lazy to try to eat up right now. Might have to use some advanced strats. But basically, if you go from this corner to this corner, all the minions are gonna get stuck around here. So you can just mob them all like that while the boss is frozen if you're in dire need of healing. Now, we just lure everything. So if you haven't seen how to do the lure, yeah. I guess basically as long as you get to this corner, you can triple stack like this. But yeah, you can step under whoever's frozen, so it makes triple barraging a lot nicer like this, as you can see. Dude, they really need something though. They really need a visual to show you the Confliction Gauntlets is working. Because there's so many like little details like manual casting, what about special attacks with magic weapons? Like what exactly works, right? And it would be easy to tell if there's like a indicator, right? Like a glow or something. Alright, so we do open with the special, just lowers defense after the freeze if we have spec. It seems to be kind of worth it if you can land the spec, but yeah, it's not like... Oh yeah, I'm just like, okay, this was definitely the best kill so far. I basically didn't miss a single time, but that's definitely more like I'm lucky on the hits. I managed to do 15 really easy kills, and there was... Or 16. There was 4 kills that was kind of sketchy. It just took like 3 barrages to kill. And we moved on to Zammy. Similar situation where I basically was incredibly comfortable, even more comfortable actually, because Zammy is less tanky. So I was able to land my freezes quicker, and I was able to just hit the boss more often with the Ayak. I pretty much killed Zammy within 2 freezes every single time, like 10 kills in a row, no problem. Similar situation though, I definitely recommend just keeping your HP fairly high, like 60 plus, just because those melee hits that Zammy can do can stack you pretty hard, you know, maybe with a minion. So we're kind of cruising, man. We are kind of cruising. Man, it's just this like attack distance I'm not the biggest fan of. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna land the hit. Boom, that was nice. We got a spec. Ouch. We do know that he can't back-to-back the slam, so... But yeah, you definitely gotta get some food ready though if you make mistakes. But we killed it in 2 freezes, so that's pretty good. But yeah, it's pretty consistent though here. More consistent than Bandos it seems. But it makes sense though. I'm pretty sure it is less tanky, this guy, versus Bandos from our previous tests. And I'm also not even on task. In tight corners, you basically just want to tank 1 hit and then start moving along the wall, because you're going to be on cooldown anyways. Like, you can't immediately freeze after it starts moving. So that's like your best option. That way you can then create like a really nice safe spot. Oh yeah, yo, 3000 KC at this boss though. I don't need anything at all. Alright boys, we've already done 10 kills, and I've managed to freeze the boss and kill it within 2 freezes every single time. So even better than freaking Bandos, and not even on task, right? So if you're on task, it's gonna be giga easy.